Severe weather for Oklahoma this week. Our weather experts will tell you when it will hit. And a woman trapped for 8 hours during the tornado. Hear her story of survival. Plus a major change for all of us here at Gaylord College. This is OU Nightly.
Stranded in the parking lot, like sitting in our car for like a good 8 hours.
Trapped by the tornado, how one Norman woman survived the storm.
Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Dakota McDowell-Wapakichi.
And I'm Olivia Dake, and it's only March, but here we go again. Another chance for severe storms in Oklahoma as early as tonight.
Let's get right over to OU Nightly meteorologist Dylan Stroko, who's outside with a first look at the forecast.
Yes, that is right. I am live on the South Oval, and as you can see behind me, relatively cloudy skies, but the temperatures are still pretty warm, a little bit cooler than yesterday, but I would say still bring out that t-shirt, maybe a pair of pants. But don't get too comfortable with this nice weather because we have more severe weather coming tonight. Right now we have a slight risk down in southeastern Oklahoma, but more concerning is tomorrow. Now we have an enhanced to a moderate risk in far southeastern Oklahoma with a marginal risk up here near Oklahoma City. So we can't rule out any severe weather here. Now coming up in Maine weather, we're going to be talking more about those tornadoes that happened Sunday night, as well as the more severe weather ahead and the cooler temperatures coming with it. Back to you.
Thanks, Dylan. While we keep an eye on news storms, we are also learning more about the tornadoes that hit Sunday night. Today, the National Weather Service released the official path of the tornado that hit Norman. This yellow line shows where the tornado touched down and where it lifted. Its official rating is an EF2. That means peak winds up to 135 miles an hour. The tornado was on the ground for 27 miles and its maximum width was 700 yards. Our weather team coverage continues now with senior meteorologist Catherine Liberta. Catherine, you talked with the survey crews about how they figured all of this out.
That's right, Dakota. And when I was out with the National Weather Service, they talked to me about how exactly they classify these tornadoes. Now, they look at all types of damage. They look at trees, power lines that are down, but these two structures that I'm about to show you were critical in making the decision on what type of tornado to classify this as. So this is one of the residential homes in a southeastern Norman neighborhood. You can see that the roof has been completely ripped off, but the outer walls are still standing. This is a convenience store. You can even see people that are walking around in this convenience store because their roof was wiped completely off in this tornado. So the first thing they do is they figure out what type of structure we're looking at. This would be a classified as a number 2, which is a 1 to 2 family residential building. Now, then they look at the degree of the damage. With these storms and with these two buildings that were critical in this classification, we were looking at a number 6. Large sections of the roof structure were removed, and that's exactly what you saw on those two buildings. And then because of that degree of damage, they estimated winds of about 122 miles per hour. So when you look at your enhanced Vegeta scale, that puts you right in the EF2 rating. And that is how they determined that this was an EF2 tornado. Back to you.
Thanks, Catherine. Now, in the midst of the chaos of flying debris, fear and the sound of sirens, a group of people were sheltering in that gas station Sunday night. Bailey Coyle is live from that on cue. She spoke with the Norman woman who was stuck there. Bailey?
Thanks, Olivia. I'm standing right outside the on cue off of Highway 9 in Classic, which was one of the hardest hit areas after Sunday night's storm. And it was in this gas station right here where people were stranded overnight. What Selena Shurtleff thought was just a typical Oklahoma spring storm turned into so much more.
I thought it was just gonna hail, so I just parked there just to protect my car.
Sunday night, Shurtleff went to the on-cue gas station to save her car from any hail damage when the tornado sirens rang through Norman.
I sat there for a little bit and the wind started picking up really bad, and I was like, okay, it's probably time to go inside.
And that's when chaos started.
As soon as I ran inside is when all the power went off. and it got really windy, like all the doors like blew open.
I've sat in the dark bathroom of the gas station and can only hear the disaster unfolding outside.
I thought like it could get really bad, or like I could be stuck in there, trapped in there.
After the storm passed, everyone taking shelter went outside to see how the tornado left its mark.
The power lines on the main road, they all fell and they were all blocking the exit, so none of us could get out.
And the On-Q parking lot is where she would be for the foreseeable future.
Ended up like stranded in the parking lot, like sitting in our car for like a good 8 hours. I think I didn't get out of there until like 4 a.m.
She was able to escape by driving over a curb and under a power line that was just high enough to fit a car under. Shurtleff went straight home to find her neighborhood was in the tracks of the tornado.
Pretty much my whole neighborhood, it was just like debris everywhere. And
Shurtleff tells me that she's thankful she made it out of here safely and that with only a little bit of damage to her home is okay. Reporting live in Norman, Bailey Coyle, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Bailey. There are many stories still emerging from the storms just like that last one. Tonight, OU Nightly's Mariah Wheeler shares how dozens of horses survived Sunday night.
As Oklahoma recovers from severe weather and tornadoes, those impacted are joining together to try and pick up the pieces. Feather Creek Farm, an equestrian center in Norman, was hit hard by the tornado, where owner Dinah Korhummel is in shock.
The other trainer who is on the property, who is essential to this facility, started texting me and saying, "Donna, it's coming towards you." And I was like, "Yeah, everyone says that." And she went, "No. In about 3 minutes, it's going to hit you."
Despite the damage, all 23 horses made it out and relocated safely, and Korhummel says those surrounding her have played a huge and integral part in recovery.
It's going to take a while, but goodness, I have the inpouring of good wishes and how can I help has been unbelievable, and I can't thank everybody enough.
One of these locals giving support is Janelle Butler, whose father was involved with the original property many years ago.
It is a tragedy, but then again, we know that out of tragedy, progress takes place, and it will build again, and it will, because it has a spirit. You can't kill the spirit.
Although the farm is still processing the events, they are determined to never give up. Mariah Wheeler, OU Nightly.
The farm has a GoFundMe account set up. You can search Feather Creek Farms on the fundraiser's website.
And a quick check of national news now. The fate of one of South Carolina's elite is now in the hands of a jury. OU Nightly's Pepper Papura has that from the News Center.
Thanks, guys. Today, the jury in the Alex Murdaugh trial will decide if the former prominent lawyer is guilty after hearing closing arguments and visiting the crime scene.
He was a person of singular prominence and respect in this community.
Accused
but he's
of
also a person who's been able to avoid accountability for all of his life.
Murdaugh is accused of murdering his wife and son, along with a variety of financial crimes. SNAP benefit recipients will need to pinch pennies even more. Today, additional funds added during the pandemic expired, meaning anyone that uses SNAP benefits will have about $90 less than usual per person, and families will have up to $250 less. A critical drug to treat diabetes is going to become a little more affordable starting May 1st. The prescription insulin is commonly criticized for overly inflated prices. That's why pharmaceutical manufacturer Eli Lilly is cutting the cost of its non-branded insulin to $25 and branded to $35 per vial. And the DNA of 2 former U.S. presidents is going to be launched into space in their honor. Dakota, Olivia, back to you guys.
Thanks, Pepper. Now, winter weather is closing one of the country's most popular national parks.
What officials are saying when we return.
And that same storm is wreaking havoc in other parts. California forcing residents to flee their homes.
Earth Report is coming up next on OU Nightly.
prepared as your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane. You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you!
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Some big news coming out of Gaylord College tonight.
That's right, Dakota. Our own Dean Kelly is stepping down. Dean Kelly notified the university earlier today with the news of his decision. He served Gaylord College for 8 years and says he will retire at the end of the fiscal year, June 30th. He's a huge supporter of our newscast, and we wish him the best in his next chapter.
A blizzard is causing record snowfall out west. Eli Miller tells us how it's affecting California's residents in today's Earth Report. Eli?
In California, an avalanche forces residents to evacuate their homes. Authorities say the bottom 2 stories of a 3-story apartment building were swallowed by the 200-yard wide and 25-foot deep avalanche. No one in the building was hurt. Authorities say they will reassess the avalanche risk today and decide if it is safe to return. Right now, Yosemite National Park is closed due to a multi-day blizzard. According to officials, the heaviest snowfall began last Saturday. Several feet of snow has fallen in the Yosemite Valley, with some areas seeing up to 15 feet. Officials there are working to restore conditions so visitors can return to the park, but they have not yet set a reopening date. In a welcome flight diversion, and a rarity for airline passengers, at least 2 planes this week have made unscheduled mid-air loops so travelers could enjoy the Northern Lights. The light show was visible from Alaska all the way to the Baltic Sea. If only you could see the beautiful lights from here in Oklahoma. Dakota, Olivia, back to you.
Thanks, Eli. And OU Nightly's weather experts were keeping Norman residents informed as tornadoes touched down across the state on Sunday night.
When we come back, how parents of out-of-state Sooner students are reacting.
And Oklahoma weather breaks a February record with scenes like this.
And meteorologist Dylan Stroko is tracking even more storms. Dylan?
Yes, that is right. This is just some of the damage that we are going to be looking at coming up in Maine weather, as well as more severe weather on the way.
To Sofia and Gabriel, even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Did you know that items like paint, cleaning solutions, pesticides, solvents, and other chemicals are considered household hazardous waste? These chemicals are dangerous to our environment and water quality when they are dumped in our storm drains or gutters. Fortunately, the City of Norman has a dedicated household hazardous waste facility where you can properly dispose of these items. Call 405-366-5463 to make an appointment. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater. Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter what you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. Let's take a look at some of the damage that we see here in Southeast Norman. This was a storage unit completely collapsed. As you can see, the roof was ripped off of this one right here. This is a corner store. You can see the inside of this store, the entire roof and ceiling just came off with that as well. Now we are seeing neighborhoods as well. Take a look at this house. The entire roof is just shredded off of that house, and you can see some more damage on these houses as well, and the debris all over. Here's another one, roof just completely shredded off that house. So as we take a look, here was those storm reports. This is the tornadoes that were reported here in Oklahoma on late Sunday night. We have 2 out here in southwestern Oklahoma, and we have 4 here around the Oklahoma City metro area. But zooming in, this is that Norman tornado. It was rated an EF2 with winds of about 130 to 135 miles per hour, max width about 700 yards. Here in southeast Norman, this is where we saw some significant damage down there to some homes and even to student housing complexes as well, known as the Ave, near Classen and Highway 9. Now, take a look at this. The previous record for the amount of tornadoes Oklahoma has seen in February was set back in 1975 as well as 2009, and that was 6. Now, late Sunday night, we have confirmed about 10 tornadoes just that night alone. So we have broken a previous record set back in 2009. Now take a look at the campus cam. Cloudy skies, and we have a temperature of about 64 degrees with a low dew point. Now as we take a look at that metro, 63 here in Norman, 62 up there in El Reno, 63 down here in Purcell. Now let's take a look at the state. 56 up there in Guyman, 61 down here in Ardmore, 62 in Tulsa. So pretty mild all throughout the state. Now, if we take a look at our live radar, we're seeing some showers down here in southeastern Oklahoma, as well as a severe thunderstorm watch that has just been issued for the far southeast portions of the state. Overall, remaining pretty clear, but we do have that severe storm risk, so a slight risk down here in southeastern Oklahoma, but we are more concerned about tomorrow. So I'm going to get into that in just a second. Highs tomorrow, 65 here in Norman, 42 up there in Guyman with a cold front coming in, as you can see right here. Now here's tomorrow. We're seeing that enhanced to moderate risk down here in southeastern Oklahoma, a marginal risk here in Oklahoma City metro area, so we can't rule out any severe weather, but the main risk is going to be down here in southeastern Oklahoma. Now take a look at your future radar. We're going to be seeing some showers in Norman about 9 a.m. We're going to be seeing some more showers if you live down here in Dallas. These are going to possibly be severe around 11 a.m. These are going to move out of here and eventually out of the state by late Thursday night into Friday morning. Now as we take a look at that 7-day forecast, cold front coming in on Thursday night. Nice warm up to start this weekend and into next week. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Dylan. We want to send a thank you out to the many viewers who have congratulated us on an OU Nightly first. Sunday night, OU Nightly broadcasted live on Cox Cable in Norman, Facebook, and YouTube as our team of meteorologists tracked the storms, including the tornado that hit South Norman. Our news crews went out to assess damage right after, bringing the first images of the destruction.
Now switching gears, tonight will be an emotional basketball game for 3 Sooners. Let's pass it over to Parker Abels with more on that in sports.
That's right, it's senior night in Norman, and some all-time Sooners will be playing their final game at the LNC. Stick with us to hear what Jenny Bronchek said about how important they've been to the program.
Prepared as your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane. You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Did you know that items like paint, cleaning solutions, pesticides, solvents, and other chemicals are considered household hazardous waste? These chemicals are dangerous to our environment and water quality when they are dumped in our storm drains or gutters. Fortunately, the City of Norman has a dedicated household hazardous waste facility where you can properly dispose of these items. Call 405-366-5463 to make an appointment. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
Hello and welcome into OU Nightly Sports. I'm Parker Abels. Tonight, the OU women's basketball team hosts the Kansas State Wildcats for senior night in the Lloyd Noble Center at 6 p.m. This could be one of the most impactful senior nights in OU history, with Maddie Williams and Taylor Robertson, who ranked 3rd and 4th in all-time scoring at OU, playing their final games at the LNC, along with Anna Yanusa, who has played 5 seasons for OU. Jenny Bronchek said it'll be hard to see these ladies go after the season.
From a personal standpoint, it's incredible that they've been all in the whole time, and they've really understand, and from a professional standpoint, they really understand what wearing an Oklahoma jersey means. And so from that standpoint, they've been absolutely incredible.
And speaking of seniors, earlier today, Maddie Williams was named a finalist for the Cheryl Miller Award for Best Small Forward in college basketball for the 2nd straight year. Williams is the only player in the country to average 24 points, 4 assists, and 9 rebounds per 40 minutes. The Sooner men's basketball team is back in action as well tonight, also facing Kansas State, but this time on the road. OU defeated the Wildcats just 2 weeks ago in Norman 79-65, but this time might not be so easy as Kansas State has only lost 1 game at home all season. The game tips off at 7 p.m. on ESPN+. And Tuesday night, the Thunder hosted the Kings for the 2nd time in 3 days. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander still out with that abdominal strain, and the game did not go OKC's way. Kings forward Harrison Barnes put up 29 for the Kings, and they took it 123-117. Thunder coach Mark Daigneault said SGA's absence isn't the reason for the loss.
We've missed our bigs at times, and the whole is usually better than the sum of the parts, and is certainly capable of rising to that. And I think that's the power of competing together. Is the whole becomes better than the sum of the parts when you do that. And so for us to lean on that right now would not be wise.
And my favorite highlight of the night comes from the Grizzlies-Lakers game as Jaren Jackson Jr. throws it down on Anthony Davis. I know AD did not like that one, man. Oh, man. But to bring the mood down a little after that, The OU baseball game tonight against UT Arlington has been canceled due to weather and field conditions. Dakota and Olivia, back to you.
Thanks, Parker. Now, a hub for local Normanites is trying to help the community.
Find out how and where you can help when we come back.
To Sofia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
A Sooner staple for over 40 years is giving back to the Norman community in a time of need. The Sooner Mall is now taking donations to help support those affected by the tornado.
Items can be taken to the mall's management and security office during mall hours. The mall is partnering with United Way, who is still taking donations through their website, as well as the Red Cross of Oklahoma.
Now let's have one last check at the weather.
Dylan, what's it going to look like tomorrow in preparation of more thunderstorms?
Yes, now we do have that severe weather outlook. This is a slight risk here in the yellow. Down here in the orange, that is that enhanced risk. And right here in the far southeast corner of Oklahoma, that's a moderate risk. Now we are going to be watching the potential for some strong tornadoes down here in southeastern Oklahoma. Here in Oklahoma City metro area, we're not going to be seeing much in terms of severe weather. We can't rule out any severe weather, however, but those tornadoes, that damaging winds, large hail, that's mainly going to be focused down here in southeastern Oklahoma tomorrow. Now let's take a look at your 7-day forecast. We do have the chance for some showers and thunderstorms Thursday. We have a cold front coming in Thursday night, so it's going to drop those temperatures down to about the mid-50s on Friday. But as you can see this weekend, we have a nice warm-up coming up on Sunday and into Monday. 74 degrees on Monday. That is a beautiful day, you guys. 68 on Tuesday and 61 on Wednesday, with yet again another chance for some rain. Overall remaining pretty dry. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Dylan, for keeping us weather aware. And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning into OU Nightly. I'm Olivia Daig.
And I'm Dakota McDowell-Wapakichi. Watch OU Nightly weekdays at 4:30 and Fridays at 4 p.m. Good night.
Prepared as your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood,